Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us for SVB Live. This morning we have Dr. Drew Clark from Arc of Life Spinal Care, and I just want to ask a few questions to you, Dr. Clark. First of all, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for having me on this morning.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your practice and if you guys are still opening and still operating.
Absolutely. Well, as of now, we are still open, and we are considered an essential business based on Homeland Security and also the governor. So we are open, but we have taken additional measures. Some of those measures are we've gone to virtual check-in. So we've just moved our reception area from the office to your car. So basically, when people come in, they text message the office when they get there. And then we text them back when it's their time to come into the office. This is just to make sure we keep our numbers under 10 per the statutes that have come out currently. Also, we've increased sanitary practices, and we're only using cleaning products based on the list from the EPA.
Okay.
So we can make sure that we're doing as much mitigation as possible, practicing social distancing. All the staff and doctors have access to hand sanitizers, which is used after each person. I do want to clarify one thing. There's a lot of people that there's mixed information about masks and gloves, which is called PPE.
Okay.
One of the governor's main reasons for one of the last executive orders is to protect PPE for the people who are on the front lines. That's the doctors, nurses, people who are actually seeing people who are high risk or have the coronavirus, COVID-19. Those are the people that need to be using the PPE. The rest of us, especially our office, we're not seeing high risk, and we're not seeing people who have corona or COVID-19. So we are triaging before you come into the office. If we see that you have a fever or you have symptoms associated, you're not coming in. So our environment is a protective environment, which is one of the reasons why we're not using PPE, because we're saving that for the people who are on the front lines, seeing the people who have COVID-19,
Sure.
Because they need to protect themselves and their families.
Absolutely. Now, the title of today's show was considerations, and I know you and I previously talked about there's 3 different considerations. Can you explain what those are?
Well, when we think about this whole thing, it's there's 3 different perspectives that I think we all need to consider as a community. Number one are the epidemiological concerns. And that would be all the conversation we hear about flattening the curve, slowing the spread, that kind of thing. And that is extremely important to do. And this is one of the reasons why they're issuing stay-at-home orders. They're closing all non-essential businesses because they're trying to flatten the curve, which is an epidemiological concept, and that's important. But it's a separate concept or separate perspective than the immunological concerns. All right, so from that perspective, as of now, we have a lot of things that are being tested, but there is still no specific treatment necessarily that has been proven that we're really going with to treat. What we're really doing is supporting the system, right? So we're supporting the immune system, we're supporting the body. If it's really bad, people need ventilators. They've heard about these different things. But that's the immunological concern. So when we don't have a specific approach to it, what we really still have to rely on is our own body and our immune system, which brings me to the next point. Now, if it gets bad, if we're having life-threatening symptoms, then yes, we need to be in the ER, in the hospital. We need supportive care. But the next concept is preparatory measures, which I think goes into some of the one of the questions that you just posed you're going to ask. Mm-hmm. And that is what can we be doing? What can we do to strengthen our bodies to help prepare us in the event that we do come in contact with, or keep us strong enough to hopefully weather that storm very simply? And that's, how do we increase our body's ability to fight? How do we influence or impact our immune system? So as we issue stay-at-home orders and things of that nature, and we practice social distancing and we wash our hands, which, by the way, we should have been doing anyway.
Absolutely.
I won't go there at all. I don't get up in the morning and say, you know what, I want to sneeze in someone's face today and not cover my mouth. Like, no. But these are good practices, and they're definitely helping flatten the curve, if you will. So they're important. But So number one on that list, I said, was exercise good manners, right? And that's just washing your hands frequently, don't cough in anybody's face, avoid touching your face, sanitize, blah, blah, blah. The next one is considering some different supplementation. Now, this is something that you may have to talk with some healthcare professionals in your circle of influence. But there are two things in particular in literature that have been proven to impact the immune system. And I'm choosing my words very carefully because, when I say that, broccoli or vitamin C or vitamin D does something for the body, I'm not saying that those things treat anything in the body, but it provides your body the nutrients and nutrition it needs in order to man a fight, right? To keep your fighting system strong. So vitamin C and D, I think, have been crucial and critical in immune regulation, immune function. So those are two things that I think people should take a really, really hard look at supplementing with. We have antiviral foods. So there's things proactively that you can start doing and adding some of these things to your diet. So that means even though we're uncertain about where things are necessarily going, grocery stores are considered essential. So you're going to be able to remain open. The biggest issue right now is people were hoarding, and our stores were not ready for that level of product and having things on stock and on standby. But they're catching up. I think I saw something somewhere where we were at Christmas levels with regard to how much stuff people are buying, and they just didn't prepare for that aspect of it. So that means don't sit at home and eat rice and flour and sugar, Twinkies and Ho-Hos, because we know that sugar has a negative impact on the immune system. So what we need to still be doing is incorporating some of these antiviral foods maybe. So that's like things like garlic, turmeric, echinacea, peppermint, just to name a few, and some of which have legitimate literature, when I say literature, research literature, that shows that they have at least proven at some particular point to have a positive impact or benefit on the body, especially with regard to the immune function. So that's something else that we can be doing. The other thing, when I'll piggyback on that, I mentioned sugar. There was an article that I read, and I'm going to read you the exact statement in this because I think it's super important. And the title of it was ibuprofen and other widely used NSAIDs, things that people take for pain, have the ability to inhibit antibody production in humans. And I think that's super important because antibodies, as we know, is the body's way of building up a tolerance and fighting an infection, i.e. like a virus, all right? So in this, let me find this one piece if you don't mind. I just want to read this thing to you. It says, by decreasing antibody synthesis, NSAIDs also have the ability to weaken the immune system, which can have serious consequences for children, the elderly, and immunocompromised patients. Now, I'm not saying don't take NSAIDs. I'm just saying that that's something that has to be a concern and a consideration. And I think that's one of the reasons why, at this particular point, according to the Department of Homeland Security and our governor, that chiropractors have remained open and are considered an essential business, because if we can keep the people who are not exposed, who don't have it, from sitting at home and popping pills, then we're effectively, potentially, right, helping their immune system stay strong to be able to fight and put them in the best possible situation.
Now, you mentioned that you can help fight this. Tell us a little bit about upper cervical chiropractic care and how it can help boost your immune system and keep you healthy.
Well, the one thing I want to circle back on is I don't think anything that I mentioned directly boosts your immune system, right? So it's not that chiropractic boosts your immune system at all. But if we think about the fact that the system that we're designed to deal with is the nerve system, and if we can have a positive impact on the nerve system, we do know there's a direct link between the nerve system and the immune system and how it functions. One of the one of the research articles I'll talk about right now was a study that showed interleukin-2 increase, and I'll kind of briefly go into what that is without walking into the woods. If I get into the woods, just pull me out.
Okay.
Just pull me my ears. I don't have any hair on my head now. Just pull my ears back out of the woods. But it's called interleukin-2. And interleukin-2 is a cytokine, which is a chemical messenger within the immune system, within the body. And interleukin-2 is a type of cytokine, but it is one of the biggest or most pronounced communication protein, if you will, between the nerve system. And I use an example. I did a video a while back. I use an example about an army. Like if we were facing a war and there were two armies on either side, if the army on the other side of me is very formidable, let's just say we're equally matched, and they have multiple platoons in different areas, if I hope to beat them, one of my main goals has to be to destroy communication. If one platoon or one group can't communicate with the other group, then they can't conspire and figure out how to come attack me at the same time. So if we're talking about interleukin-2 as being one of the most prominent chemical messengers within the immune system, what this article was showing was that post-chiropractic adjustment, those chemical messengers were increased, right? Increasing the immune system's ability to communicate with one another. Now you tell me whether or not you think that's going to help your body fight and have a more effective defense if it's encountering a pathogen, a virus, a threat. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
So as opposed to boosting, what we're saying is it can support the immune system by having a strong nerve system. And that's just a research article that gives a kind of a glimpse into how that could be and how that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a patient of yours, I can say I've always found my own way of describing what upper cervical chiropractic care is. And you've given me kudos for it before, so I'll share it again today if that's okay. I think of it as your brain is your motherboard, so your nervous system. And in order for it to communicate properly, all of those roadways need to be cleared. So when you do your adjustments and your gentle chiropractic care, it clears those nervous systems so they have a direct communication with your brain, so they're able to stay healthy.
Awesome. I love it. I love simplicity. And I always tell people that if you can't explain something in a simple manner, then you don't understand the concept well enough. Right? So I love simplicity. I think people love simplicity, and it just makes sense. When you take a step back, it makes sense. The only other thing I want to add to what I just said with regard to chiropractic is I talked about the chemical messenger, but I also talked about NSAIDs. So just helping people reduce their pain levels, reduce their dysfunction in their body, and keep them as much as possible away from things that are going to decrease antibody production,
sure,
right, is important. So don't sit at home and pop pills. We've taken protective measures. We're even adding today, but we're going to be adjusting outside for people who are comfortable. We're going to set up a tent. You'll have the option to either go outside or inside. And if you want to go outside, there's going to be one dock outside. We'll have our computers, your x-rays, and everything we need out there. And curbside, we'll check you in, and then you'll be able to come out to a table under the tent by our office and get checked that way, or you can choose to go inside. We're definitely want to keep people safe, but keep people comfortable. But in the meantime, we know how valuable what it is that we offer is. And we've gotten a lot of our patients that have thanked us tremendously for being open. And we're taking precautions to make sure that we can stay open.
Absolutely. You guys are doing it the right way. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning for SBB Live, Dr. Clark. I appreciate your time, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you at the office sometime this week.
Absolutely. We look forward to it.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful morning.